I wanted to hear how they were, you know? And on some of the conversations, I was crying. And I asked them, there's some things happened with all of them. I said, I'm crying. How come you're not crying? And they said, because I'm exhausted. They said, this is new for you. This is not new for me. This is, I lived this life. You're just seeing it for the first time because the whole scene was captured. We've been talking about this, but usually you just see the dead body in the street and we don't see what led up to it. What made George Floyd important was the camera, that we got to see it. And for people who haven't seen that, for all the reasons, it was shocking good, you know? And so I think that when we talk about the infinite game, about a constant improvement, you know, blaming someone for something they didn't see isn't helpful. But now that they've seen it, we say, okay, let's do that work and let's go through the constant improvement. Like, what are the things that we can do inside our company so this is not for show and temporary and fashionable, but this becomes part of our growth, part of who we are. That we become more aware of these things. We have systems in place. We have different kinds of metrics. We have different kinds of incentives. We have different kinds of practices. We've implemented things like listening skills. We've implemented things like teaching anybody who gets promoted to any position of leadership to learn how to have a difficult conversation. And the reality is, if you can have a difficult conversation about race, you can have a difficult conversation about anything. Your performance is not doing so great. That's a difficult conversation. So I think this is a massive opportunity, like any learning opportunity, for personal growth. And companies go through personal growth like people go through personal growth.
And what somebody said...
Ongoing, forever. Exercise, eating right. This is forever. This is forever. It's a striving. And that's what we have to remember. It's a striving.
Somebody said something that stuck with me during all this, which was diversity and inclusion. You can have as diverse of a workforce as you want. It doesn't amount to anything if you don't have an inclusive culture, and it's a mindset, and it's not a number.
And I got a bunch of phone calls right after the murder of George Floyd, and I was really annoyed by how many executives were more preoccupied with the press release than with the hard work they needed to do inside their company. You know, I understand you got to put the press release out. I'm fine with that, but the press release should reflect the work that you're deciding to do. It shouldn't be the priority before the work you decide to do.
Yeah, I'd say everybody in this room did that, and it's a great question to end on. Gives us plenty to think about. I want to thank you for being with us. It has been too long. I do want to take your advice more, and I don't want it to be another 4 years before we see you. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for what you're doing to add goodness into the world around us.